Hi there. My name is Georgia Fisher. I'm the Assistant Dean and Director of the Undergraduate Business Program at the University of St. Thomas. Some of you have been able to be on campus, and I've met with some of you, but there are many of you who have not been able to come on campus. So we're doing it right now. We're going to meet with you. I'm joined by 4 faculty and 3 students. Carly Stieg, who is the Student Services Coordinator of the undergraduate program, is going to be taking your questions. And Carly, let's get to the faculty members.
Hello, hi, I am Laura Dunham. I'm the Associate Dean of the Schultz School of Entrepreneurship, and happy to be here and look forward to having a conversation with all of the students today.
Hi there,
Virtually.
my name is Dr. Nikisha Lewis. I am the Marketing Department Chair, and I'm extremely excited to welcome you to OCB St. Thomas. Let's talk.
Hi, and I'm Jim Chauvin, Finance faculty, and really excited to be here today.
And we'll be joined by one more faculty member, Dr. Larry Davis, who's the chair of the accounting department. He's actually just coming from class, so he will join us when he can get here.
And I'm Adam Morris. I'm a senior at St. Thomas. I'm studying finance and English, and just really looking forward to talking to some of you guys and giving you my experiences here at St. Thomas and just helping you make a good decision on where you want to end up.
Hi, I'm Paige Palenti. I'm a senior and I'm an accounting and human resources student. I'm really excited to hopefully answer some of your questions. And like Adam said, just give you some of my insight into my time at St. Thomas.
Hi everyone, my name is Tiffany Wynn. I am a junior marketing student. I'm so excited to be here and talk to you all today and hopefully answer some of your questions.
All right, let's get started with the undergraduate business program. Here at St. Thomas, you have 12 different concentrations that you can select from. And the neat thing about all of these concentrations is that they are found in every organization in the world. Nonprofit, profit, medical facilities, Minnesota Vikings, everybody has leadership and marketing and accounting. So the faculty and the staff at the University of St. Thomas, the undergraduate business program, are here to help you decide what your function is going to be in an organization. And then through internships, you'll get to decide what kind of organization you want to be working in. We also have 3 minors. Now, business administration and the entrepreneurship minors are for students who are majoring in something other than business, but the data analytics minor is available to people who are majoring in business as well as other departments. Students, can you share a little bit about how you went about selecting your concentration and if you changed your concentration? Paige, will you start, please?
Yeah, so I decided on both of my majors because in high school, I had the opportunity to take some accounting courses and I really knew like this was something I wanted to do. But then I had also done a business camp during my high school education as well. And one of my mentors there was a human resources major. And I was like, wow, this sounds really cool as well. So I was kind of deciding between the two and I didn't really know coming into college, but I ultimately was able to decide on doing both of them because I spent a lot of time at academic counseling and trying to put together a 4-year plan, which is super helpful if you're not sure, just to see like how everything would fit together, if you're maybe interested in 2. And so when I met with academic counseling and I knew I could do both of them, I wanted to, and it's been a great decision for me.
Tiffany?
So my journey to choosing a marketing major is kind of unconventional. When I first got to St. Thomas, my major was chemistry, and this was because my parents wanted me to be a pharmacist. And at the time, I thought that was a good idea because you make a lot of money. And yeah, but then once I got to chemistry, they say that's like a weeding class, and I was definitely weeded out. I mean, I did fine, but it just wasn't something I was passionate about. and I always viewed myself as someone who didn't settle for something that was just good enough. So then I changed my major my sophomore year to actuarial sciences just because I took some of the calculus classes already. And then after taking some actuarial science classes, I realized I really liked calculating numbers, working with numbers, but I didn't want to do it for the purpose of insurance. That just wasn't interesting to me. And finally, I got to marketing and I switched my major my second semester of my sophomore year. And I did this because marketing was something I was good at in high school. I was in DECA, if some of you know what that is. It's basically a marketing club. Also, the summer of my freshman year, I interned at St. Thomas in a marketing role. And that was the first time I really considered it as a career path. And eventually I decided that to be my major because it was something I was passionate about and I could see myself doing it for the rest of my life.
Adam, what was your path like?
Yeah, so I came into St. Thomas as a general business major. I didn't know exactly where I wanted to go, but I wanted to stay in the business school, and I actually had an English minor declared my freshman year. I realized with the credits I was bringing in that I could double major, and I just figured for my future career that was a better path for me. And then I ended up actually switching from accounting to finance. For me personally, I felt that accounting may have been a little too narrow for me. It seems like a lot of people who work with it or who take that major end up, in a few roles, especially with some of my roommates that I've talked to are accounting majors. They are all kind of doing the same thing after graduation. So I ended up on finance because they are so similar, accounting and finance, but I just felt that finance had more opportunities for me personally in things that I was really passionate about, and opened up doors with alumni and professors to kind of just talk about their experiences. And that's kind of where I ended up, just learning from other people and making my decision based on what I was passionate about and the experiences of some of the people that I've talked to.
So it sounds like all three of you did a little exploring. Laura, how do you help your advisees?
Sure. I think one of the great things about St. Thomas is that we are big enough to have every major and fantastic professors in every major, but we're small enough that you actually do get assigned a faculty advisor who you do meet with regularly and you do get to spend some time with. So part of our job as faculty advisors is to get to know our students and to really understand what's of interest to them, what their aspirations are, what they think they're good at, what they want to try, and to help guide them then towards the discipline that makes most sense for them. The other great thing about our program in the Undergraduate College of Business is that we have redesigned it so that it's much more flexible. So all of our students very early on in their freshman and sophomore years get an opportunity to take a class in every single one of our disciplines. And so they have an opportunity to experience what it's like to wrestle with the kinds of problems that people wrestle with in those disciplines, to understand what kinds of career trajectories they could expect if they concentrated in one of those disciplines. So lots of opportunities for students to get to talk to faculty, to get to talk to other students, and to actually take the classes that might be of interest to them as a major.
Nikisha, what's your approach?
One of the things that I definitely have tried to do is to leverage both my contacts that I have in the industry with working with my advisees as well. So I've done things like, even after a student graduates, and let's say they didn't land the job that they wanted, we spent time at Panera or whatever bread company you want to insert there for hours until we were able to work through the resume and really kind of help her move her in the path that she wanted to go. And so one of the things that I love about being at St. Thomas is that our commitment from the faculty is that we are there for the long haul. So we work through it from that freshman year all the way to that senior year and even after. And so it's just an amazing experience to both bring in speakers that students can really engage with and figure out helpful things for their pathway, or is it afterwards we're just digging in and spending time on that resume and that cover letter. We're all committed to making sure that students feel supported and know that we're there for them.
Jim, how do you handle your students?
Well, I would echo what Nikisha and Laura said. I think our value proposition at St. Thomas is getting to know our students, and you can't help them unless you get to know them. I would also add, I think our faculty is really good at nurturing and providing support, but we're also there to transition them from student to professional. So it's good also to give them a little stern father or mother talk every once in a while to get their house in order and get going. But it's in that context where we get to know them, and through that, we'll be able to help.
Thank you. At St. Thomas, you will take 129 credits to graduate. And there are 3 different kinds of credits that business majors take. The first are the liberal arts courses. Every student at St. Thomas will complete these courses in the 4 years that you're here. And there are some allied courses. These are courses that all business majors are required to take. They're not offered by the College of Business, but the content of these courses supports the content of our courses. And then there's the business core. You'll notice all of these courses are for different areas of business. Now, the first year, you'll take a course called Business for the Common Good. And that's an overview course. That's going to introduce you to all the areas of business and how they work together. Then there's an entrepreneurship course. So that's about critical thinking and innovative thinking and applying it to all areas of business. And then everyone takes that first accounting course. In the second year, you'll go on and take courses in all of the other functional areas of business. Students, what was your relationship like with your professors in the classroom?
I can definitely speak to that. So my sophomore year, I took my first finance course. And funny enough, my professor was English undergrad, and then he went to get his master's in finance. And as a finance and English double major, it was kind of a unique situation for me to have a professor who kind of is who walked down the same path as me. And I'm still in contact with him. 2 years later, I talk to him pretty frequently about, his path after graduation, kind of what he did and how he leveraged his experiences to, make a career for himself. Besides that, like, introduction courses are great for, second year students to kind of understand what they are passionate about. Like I said, I was a general business major coming in, and I didn't know exactly where I wanted to go. And these courses really, offer you a taste of everything that you can kind of experience to see where you kind of want to go and what career you might want to end up in after you graduate.
How many students were in your class?
I believe in that class, it was roughly 25 students,
Okay.
so pretty small for an introduction class.
Paige, what's your experience been like?
Yeah, so I was just going to add, one of the things that I love about our professors here at St. Thomas, and especially in the business school, is that they have years of like real world experience, which I find very valuable. And so with that too, they have connections with people that they're still in contact with from their old companies or jobs that they used to work for. And so for example, in one of my classes, almost every single week, we would have a guest speaker. And that's just really awesome because you get to see like what you're learning in the classroom and how a major company is applying it to like their jobs and what they're doing. And that's really valuable for me. And then also, kind of like Adam was saying, I've had professors who have brought in guest speakers, and then later down the line, when you keep in contact with them, I've had a professor recommend me for an internship, and I eventually got an internship that way. So they're really awesome, and they're always there willing to help. Definitely utilize those office hours because they love when they have students come in and just talk, not necessarily about homework, but just your future plans and anything that they can help you with.
Nikisha.
Paige, you gave me a great introduction there. We do love it when you stop by and talk about more than just classroom things for sure. At St. Thomas, as I said before, it's really about relationships for us. We chose to come to UST as faculty members as well. And so to stay here and truly be able to invest and get to know our students and about their families. Today we had class online because like many others across the world, we are doing the Zoom deal. And before we got started in the trenches of what we were discussing pressing for the topic, I said, what does everybody want to do when outside opens up? And so they're in the chat going, oh, I'm going to go out and have sushi. I'm going to hang out with friends. And so I kind of went through some of the examples that we had there, and it was able to personalize the experience, even though we're thousands, possibly miles away, right? I have students that are studying, that are international students that are in our class. They're in a completely different time zone engaging with us. And just, part of being at St. Thomas and a faculty member there is about really getting to know the students and who they are and using that classroom time to make them a part of that Tommy family. And so that's what that is. And sometimes family is, as Professor Chauvin talked about, that stern love talk. And sometimes, it's just a reminder of, hey, you can do this. You can make it. These exams, whatever we have going on, whatever's going on at home, we're here for you to support you to reach those goals and be those great business leaders.
Keisha, you brought up the fact that the entire world seems to be online right now. Jim, you've got some experience teaching online. You, like the rest of the faculty at St. Thomas, had to pivot overnight. Can you talk about your experience?
Sure. Well, what we try to do is bring the best of both worlds, right? We want our traditional face-to-face classes we have at St. Thomas, but combine them with the technology of being online, allowing students to have flexibility, adaptability, to tailor their education to how they learn best. So for example, I've been teaching a class for 4 years. We call it a high flex model. My students have the chance to participate in class, come to class traditional face-to-face, join us asynchronously from wherever they are, or synchronously from wherever they are in the world via Zoom, or to do it all asynchronously online. And they can choose that for each and every class throughout the semester. But the most important thing, so we're giving them the flexibility, the ability to tailor and adapt their educational needs to how they learn best. But as Keisha pointed out there, our value proposition is leveraging that technology without losing sight of our value add is that Tommy family. We still get to know our students. Our job is not to post just videos and then just let students go, is to still engage them, whether they're online or in the classroom. We teach here because we want to engage with our students. And I think that's the art, that we're bringing to online learning, is that we're still capable of bringing that St. Thomas touch to the online world, and hopefully the same rigor, the same quality, but still with that great St. Thomas experience.
Right. At St. Thomas, there are over 100 student organizations, and within the College of Business, we have 16, I believe. And these clubs meet over what we call the open hour on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and no classes are held. So that's when the clubs can meet. Students, could you tell us about your experiences in your student organizations?
Yeah, I can start. Like I mentioned before, I have a job on campus. I'm a marketing intern and I work on websites. So I was able to make the website that you all were able to see that portrays St. Thomas online. And I'm also a math tutor. And for some examples of organizations, I'm on the e-board. So I'm an executive member of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. And you might think that's kind of random, but it just happened because my friends wanted me to be on it. And I just said yes, and I became the networking chair, and it's just been a really good opportunity for me to connect with engineering companies in Minnesota just because there's so many of them. And I'm also on the Undergraduate Business Council. It's the council that supports all of the undergraduate students in Opus, and I'm on several committees like the Philanthropy Committee and the Diversity and Inclusion Committee. And we just work to ensure that all students' voices are being heard in the Opus College of Business.
Paige?
Yeah, so I, at St. Thomas, I was also very involved now that my time's coming to an end, but I was on the swim team here, and I'm also a part of the HR club and Undergraduate Business Council with Tiffany. And I would say being involved in clubs is one of my favorite parts of my college experience. You get to know a smaller group of people, and it's really, St. Thomas is already a community feeling, but when you get into clubs and being in leadership positions, you really get to know another group of people, and it's just a way to make your time at St. Thomas feel very worthwhile. And I will say too, if you are unsure about what major you want to do, or you don't really know what your career path looks like, the business clubs are a great opportunity for you to explore these options. Because a lot of the clubs that we offer at Opus, you can go to a meeting one time, but you don't have to go back if you don't want to. So say you want to go to the marketing club because you want to hear about a speaker that works at a company, but then you realize you might not be interested. And so next week you want to go to accounting club, you can go and just check out all the different ones. And that's a great way to network with professionals too and get your questions answered if you're unsure.
Adam, what's your experience been like?
Yeah, so definitely what Paige was saying, freshman year definitely took advantage of the clubs. I was pretty much every other week or every week going to multiple different club meetings. Just having that experience of being able to meet so many new people, especially when you get the experience to kind of interact with maybe juniors or seniors that you might not be able to meet otherwise. Really, and like I said before, like really their experience kind of can help guide you in what you kind of want to figure out and how your path in college is going to go. I ended up not being super involved on like Tiffany and Paige. They're obviously awesome people and really, really went after it. But I was part of the accounting club and I was part of the sports business club for a little bit. Ended up not following through all the way with that. Another thing kind of interesting with clubs is they're pretty easy to start. So if you have an idea for something that you think people would find interesting or something you're super passionate about, if you can find enough people, clubs are definitely something that, or a new club is definitely something you can start at your time at St. Thomas. And who knows, maybe 10 years down the line, it'll still be going and you can come back and be a guest speaker at something you started back on St. Thomas. So it's a super cool opportunity, clubs are. And I would definitely recommend anybody who is thinking about certain something, just go to a meeting, see how it is. And, you know, if you, like Paige said, if you don't end up liking it very much, then you don't have to go back. And it's just a good opportunity to meet new people and kind of expand your horizons.
I'd like to ask the faculty to comment on what they feel is the value of these student organizations. What do the students get from this? Laura, would you start? Nikisha?
No worries. Yeah, one of the things that I really love about our student clubs is the opportunity for leadership. And so we talk about developing these principal leaders and the quick, as quick as you can jump in and really have those experiences with the clubs, the absolute best it can be. So whether it's you work your way up through the ranks or you just decide to jump in full force early on and get those leadership experiences under your belt. The other, I would argue, I would say key or a cool point about the clubs is that as you work your way through that, many times the clubs bring in speakers and you as the leaders of those clubs have access to those speakers first, which makes you then the one that gets the leg up when we talk about the opportunities possibly. And so clubs give opportunities for jobs, possibly later, internships. They give you a chance to engage with your colleagues in an iron sharpens iron kind of way. You also, while you're in those clubs, you can discuss, what classes you're thinking about taking, better development of certain courses. Maybe you're trying to understand a topic. All of those build relationships within our clubs. And I'd say despite the topic, you just get this opportunity to grow both as a student and possibly as a leader.
I think we've probably answered these. At the University of St. Thomas, we affiliate with international programs all around the world. Right now, of course, things are a little different, but once we get back on campus, we will be back. We will be sending students all over the world. Although business students are studying everywhere in the world, the 5 most popular destinations for the last 6 years have been the United Kingdom, China, Australia, Italy, and Spain. And those are popular for our semester programs. We also have our own London business semester every fall where we send 2 of our faculty and they take 50 of our students and they teach our business classes. And then we have in the spring, we have a Shanghai business semester, and that semester has an internship built in. We also have short-term programs that are taught during the month of January or during the month of June. Nikisha and Laura, you've both been involved in the development of international short-term programs. Could you talk a little bit about that? Laura, you've actually taught one in
Sure.
India.
Yes, and we regularly offer that. That was quite an amazing experience. We actually partner with one of the top business schools in India, SP Jain. We take a group of students to Mumbai. We spend the first week, half a day in the classroom there at SP Jain to get the lay of the land, to understand the history, the culture, the kinds of social problems that entrepreneurs in India are trying to address. And then we meet these really wonderful entrepreneurs. We go afternoon, we're doing field trips, we're going out into the city, and by the end of the first week, our students are assigned to work with social entrepreneurs who really are building ventures around solving problems like poverty alleviation, access to education for small children who live in some of the urban slums that don't have access to education, access to better health care, income inequality. These are some of the most inspiring people you will ever meet because they're tackling big problems with amazing creativity and ingenuity. And our students come back feeling like it's been a transformative experience for them. I mean, they just always come back and say, that was the most amazing place, the most beautiful place. And I met the most incredible people and learned so much. So it's a real practicum in social entrepreneurship and in a really wonderfully interesting environment. So just a fantastic experience.
Nikisha, the marketing has an international marketing course in South America.
Absolutely. And so students get the opportunity to go to a variety of companies as well as locations, on-site locations, to visit businesses there to really see how, international marketing breaks out in different spaces. And so, of course, we teach the domestic version of the course, but as they travel abroad, they're able to get these real life hands-on experiences of what marketing translates to when it's somewhere else. And so we, just like Dr. Dunham noted, we offer that every other year. And so giving that students that continual opportunity to keep going, as well as there's always these new options that are also available as well. So developments of, study abroads in Cape Town, South Africa, for some of the shorter ones and some of the longer ones like the London Business Program as well.
Adam, you studied abroad, I think once or twice?
Yeah, just once. I was lucky enough to do the London business semester my fall of junior year. And it was probably my favorite thing that I've ever done in St. Thomas. It was a great experience. Like Georgia was saying, 50 students and 2 faculty from St. Thomas go, and I made some of the best friends that I still am talking to this day, and I wouldn't have traded it for anything in the world. I guess to delve deeper into that a little bit. So you go to London, you're taking 4 business courses, all required for your major. I ended up taking an accounting course, a B-Law course, a business law course, and then another marketing course and something I can't quite remember. But then you end up staying with families in the suburbs of downtown London. Ended up living with one of my friends and then 2 guys I didn't know with a family there. And you really kind of understand a little bit more about their culture and understanding how they operate over there. It's very different than what we do here. Completely change of pace and a lot of culture shock. Definitely trying to get to class and taking a train for an hour just to get to downtown and then walk for 15 minutes to your class. But those were some of the best memories. Just waking up and walking to the bus and getting there and just trying to figure everything out. And it can be a little intimidating at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's definitely one of the best things you can ever do. And I would highly recommend it to anyone who's thinking about it. Yeah, I can't really say enough about it. It's one of the best things I've ever done, and I would definitely say go for it if you want to.
Thank you. I'd like the students to tell us about their internships. We're in the Twin Cities. We're fortunate to have many businesses. And Paige, can you tell us about your internships?
Yeah, so I would say the Tommy network that St. Thomas has around the Twin Cities, it was one of the biggest draws as to why I chose the Opus College of Business. I was lucky enough to have an internship in both human resources 2 summers ago, and then I had an internship in accounting this past summer. and both of them were really great experiences. I will say, so like my HR internship, I got it in with my professor who had a speaker come to class, and like I said, use your networks when you do have those opportunities. And one thing too about the Tommy Network is everyone is so willing to help. So through the alumni office, there's a program called St. Thomas Connect that all the alumni can sign up for if they're willing to help you with like job searching, resume review, if you just have questions about a specific career path. So I've definitely used that. About when I first knew I wanted to go into accounting, I had met with my mentor and talked about what she did. And then also to speak to accounting is a little different because accounting recruits kind of hard and like fast. So just kind of having someone to talk to, whether that's a professor or a mentor, to get on top of like when kind of you should start looking, when things are due, what you should be doing is really helpful too. But my internship experiences have been so awesome. And a lot of the things I learned in the classroom, I could apply those to my internship experiences. And I would say like, they were really impressed with my skill sets, and they were kind of amazed like what we were learning in classes. So I think St. Thomas prepares you well for that. And then ultimately, like I've had a job lined up since August for after graduation. So that's really nice too.
Adam, how about your experiences?
Yeah, so I've had 2 internships during my time here at St. Thomas. One of them I actually just got from applying on LinkedIn to a posting. It was just for 3 months. It was an internship working with a financial advising firm, just kind of working with them, kind of fulfilling any need they needed. It wasn't anything that I can really remember much about. But then through the career office, I actually got an internship over the summer, full-time internship, and then eventually got a job offer working in accounting. And if you are looking for internships, I would definitely say start looking through the career office instead of trying to find internships through like LinkedIn or Indeed or anything like that. Especially look for those who do interviews on campus. Because when you apply for those and you go through the process of getting through and interviewing on campus, you're not waiting around for somebody to email you back about an interview. You you have the slot and you can prepare for it. And the career office is definitely one of the best resources on campus. Like I've had them look at my resume probably 6 times. And they tell you how to cater your resume to different job postings. If you're applying for an accounting internship, it's different than applying for a marketing internship, and your experiences have to reflect that. So definitely internships are something that are very important to business students, and St. Thomas really does everything they can to fulfill that need and allow students to have those opportunities and eventually get full-time jobs out of them for some people.
Tiffany?
Yeah, so I mentioned before, but my summer of my freshman year, I applied for an on-campus job in marketing because I just needed money. And at the time, I didn't know what I was going to do with my career. And through that, my supervisors at the St. Thomas marketing department were super helpful and aided me in whatever I was interested in. And I realized that I was interested in marketing analytics. So the following summer of my sophomore year, I was looking on the St. Thomas career site for marketing internships, specifically in marketing. And I was able to find one through that website, which was super helpful. And I was also able to obtain that internship through on-campus interviewing. So that's when you just sign up online, and essentially the recruiter comes directly to St. Thomas and they interview you then and there. And essentially they get back to you within, I would say, like a few weeks if you are going to go to the next step or not. And I was lucky enough to receive an internship that way. And I also have an internship lined up for this summer. Unfortunately, I won't be able to come in the office, but they were able to accommodate the situation, and it'll still happen online. So I feel like St. Thomas just gave me so many opportunities to connect with alumni and to have my skills be revealed through my resume and through the projects I could speak on. So I feel like St. Thomas has just given me so many opportunities to succeed with my marketing major and I feel like for my career, it'll be very helpful to have that Tommy network as well.
And Jim, could you talk about the companies that come to St. Thomas? Who are some of the companies that hire for internships and for full-time employment?
Well, the good news there is St. Thomas, of course, has got a long storied history in the Twin Cities. So over that time, and given the type of faculty we recruit who have real practical business applications, we've got a great relationship with the business community. So we get all the marquee names. You know, you can go down the list of Medtronic, 3M, General Mills, Ecolab, all those. But just as importantly, we've got a great relationship with mid-sized companies and a lot of small businesses. Entrepreneurs is, of course, a focal point. So it's a great array that we've got who are coming on campus, and they like coming to St. Thomas because they know what they're going to get. They're going to get a high quality product, right? They're going to get great students who have practical application, who can hit the ground running, and probably more importantly, be a good addition culturally to their organization. So I think that's why we've had so much success with our placement and our internships. Companies are looking for the type of students we have in both the technical skills they've got, but just as importantly, the type of people they are.
Laura, can you address that question for the entrepreneurship students?
Sure. So St. Thomas and the Schultz School are very, very well connected with the sort of entrepreneurial ecosystem here. Many of our students do go to work for large companies, often in innovation sort of centers within an organization. We have a student that just went to Target's Strategy and Innovation Center and is working with their accelerator. That's the organization that Target runs that helps bring in the startup kinds of companies that might end up having a product that they want to get to first. We have a student that had a great internship at US Bank in their innovation group. But a lot of our students want to work for startups. They want to work for social enterprises, small entrepreneurial organizations that are trying to solve big problems. We're really well connected and get a lot of information, a lot of internship opportunities. And the other great thing, and this is another case of St. Thomas, is feels like a small school, but it's big enough to have amazing resources. And one of the resources we have at the Schultz School is we have subsidies. So if a startup comes to us and has a really great internship, but doesn't quite have the money to typically hire a entrepreneur, we can help pay for that. So we can give grants to our students so they can work at startups. We particularly like to support our alumni startups. But also for nonprofits or social enterprises. So lots of great opportunity, regardless of what you're interested in all different kinds of, you know, across the disciplines, small businesses, emerging businesses, nonprofits. St. Thomas and the Opus College provide so much access and so many opportunities.
And Nikisha, you've got students everywhere.
Absolutely. You know, one of the things that I love about marketing is the flexibility and the options that it provides for our students. So whether you're interested in that new product development, research development, data analytics, all the way to the advertising and PR, different agencies, whether it be local or abroad, we've got them, and the opportunities for them are forever and open. One of the things that I love just even with the internship opportunities that I've seen is that our faculty, we have a variety of adjunct and clinical faculty that offer students opportunities as well. So relationships that they have with people and leveraging some of those to ensure that our students have those great internship experiences. And so, you know, of course, the larger names that were mentioned, the Targets as well, definitely come to mind when I think about our students. 3M and their sales program definitely comes to mind when I think about their internship opportunities and job opportunities for our students. So absolutely available for marketing majors. And as Dr. Dunham said, any of our functions or concentrations.
The starting salary, it was a year ago for our graduates, are $50,000 to $55,000 a year. Not that money is everything, but it is important when you need a few dollars more than your bills coming in. 94% of our students are employed by or in graduate school or the military within 8 months of graduation. About half of those students have gotten a job offer before actual graduation. And our location. Although we're here in the Twin Cities with a vibrant and very supportive business community, we have students from all over the world and from across the United States. And our Career Development Center and our alumni network help students return to their home community, or maybe if you're from the Twin Cities and you want to start out working somewhere else, we can help you with that as well. Okay, why St. Thomas? Faculty and students, what haven't we talked about? What should we, what should students know? How are they going to help make their decision? Adam, what do you think?
I mean, not to beat an old horse here, but it really is, you know, the community, the professors, the classes, the way St. Thomas is run is so different than any other university that I've, you know, talked to other people about or heard about. You know, I have a lot of friends who go to Madison or go to other schools, bigger schools in state or out of state, and you know, especially right now with online classes, they are kind of dealing with the problems that professors just post videos online, or professors don't really give them the time of day to really understand. And St. Thomas having the smaller class sizes, or having, you know, professors who are willing to meet with you anytime, any day, really was the reason that I chose St. Thomas. Just to, I guess, tell a little story, I actually had one of my parents went to a larger school in state here, and one of his classes, one of his freshman intro classes, I think he told me it had like 1,000 kids in it. And when I was thinking about, you know, kind of what I want to get out of an education, I didn't really see that as being for me. You know, I want to have that personal connection, and we've talked about it a lot here. The personal connections are kind of what gets you the opportunities, you know, for internships or for jobs, or just being able to learn from someone, be able to talk to them face to face and have that one-on-one connection is something that really, you know, made me choose St. Thomas. And I wouldn't have made a different decision if I would go back and now knowing what I know now. And, you know, it was one of the best decisions I made to come to St. Thomas, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
Jim, your thoughts?
Well, I'm the finance guy, right? So I got to talk about return on investment a little bit. One, in the traditional sense, is that you saw the stats. You're going to get a great job graduating from St. Thomas at a great company. And so you've got to, with all the time invested and the money invested, you've got to do that. But I'd also suggest that you're going to get a great investment in another way, and that is the fact we are unapologetic a small liberal arts college and a college of business that focuses on principled leadership and ethics. And so it's not just important that you get a great job and you're good in business, is that you're a good person, right? How you do business matters. The type of person you are matters. And I think that's the bigger return on investment when you look at it. Technically, you're going to get a great job, but more importantly, you're going to get a really good educational experience and cultural community experience that I think is going to be a great springboard for an exceptional life.
Tiffany?
Yeah, I would say just the personal connections you make with people at St. Thomas. I have two little anecdotes to tell. So my first one is actually with Carly, the host of this whole webinar. So I said before that I changed my major 1 or 2 times or 3 times. But essentially, when I was considering changing my major to marketing, I remember going to her office and literally crying and being like, why am I so confused? Like, shouldn't I know by now? And I was just really upset. And she was like, well, you shouldn't be upset because people change their major all the time. It's not that big of a deal. And she just reassured me that people have their own journeys, and it doesn't matter the amount of time it takes to get there. It's just figuring it out along the way. And that just has kept with me all this time. And another one was when I was taking my first accounting class, or no, my second accounting class, managerial. I was super nervous to take that class just because everyone says it's super hard, and yeah. But I thought I was good at math, so I thought I would be fine. And like I said, I was good at crunching numbers. So after the first exam, I did really bad, and I went to the professor during office hours, and I was like, I'm really good at math. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And he said, well, sometimes it's not about the math. It's about using the math to understand the concepts. And at the time, I was like, okay, that's kind of mean. But then I realized he was right. Just because I was good at math, it doesn't mean I could apply it directly to the concepts in the correct way. So after that, we just worked together a lot. I came to his office hours all the time. And for the rest of the semester, I did really well on all the tests. And that just goes to show how much professors invest in students. And even though he's an accounting professor, I asked him to be my mentor. And he's been my mentor for a couple semesters now. So it just goes to show how much St. Thomas faculty care about their students. So that's what I have to say. Just the people at St. Thomas care about students so much, and they just are in it for you to succeed.
Laura, why St. Thomas?
myself here. Well, I think, you know, to me, when I think of St. Thomas and having gone through university searches with my own kids, we really occupy a sweet spot in the market, because you've heard all these stories about how small this school feels. You know, you get to know your professor, you get to know other students, you have all these leadership opportunities, you can get connected to great jobs and internships, but we're also big enough that you meet new people every year, that we have any major, any minor, anything you're interested in, and top professors in those fields. We have amazing resources. Just in the Schultz School alone, we have Small Business Development Corps, we can give students free consulting for their businesses, Legal Corps, the Family Business Center. We have seed capital for students who want to start their own businesses. We have a joint venture with one of the big accelerators in town. So if you're ready to start a business when you graduate, you can have a free program that puts you through professional training to get ready to launch your business, in addition to all these fabulous classes. So to me, we're in this wonderful city. It's big enough to have all kinds of fabulous amenities and things to do, but we're in this beautiful sort of residential area that's safe and easy to live in. It's just the best of all worlds. And I know that that kind of sweet spot, there's not many other colleges out there that really capture that particular benefit and value.
Nakisha, why St. Thomas?
I'd capture what Dr. Dunham said, and I'd call it the St. Thomas or the Opus advantage, right? And so even when we think about the things that Professor Chauvin said, when we talk about, you know, that you come out as this ethical, moral business leader, of course you can make billions, but what if you could make billions and save the world at the same time? And those are the type of students and leaders that we feel like at the end of that 4-year experience that we're able to help mold and challenge, right? And so when I think about why St. Thomas, all of those things come to mind. And I think about in our classes where we not only just give you theory, but we give you practice. We give you prof plus prof models where both the professional will come in with your professors to work alongside for you to learn. We give you our beautiful campus, our excellent opportunities Professor Dunham talked about, those connections to our faculty that Tiffany and Adam talked about. It's just the St. Thomas advantage. It's who we are and what we do. Education is important to us. It's written throughout our convictions. It's just who we are.
Paige, why St. Thomas?
Yeah, so I'll keep it short, and kind of like I mentioned before, when I was looking for a college, I really wanted something that I would feel like I wasn't just a number. And I think St. Thomas, like it's been mentioned before, is the perfect size where, for my personal experience, I have never had a class over, I think, like 35 students, maybe even closer to 30. And I know that might vary depending on what general classes you're taking, but that's the kind of experience that I wanted when looking at a college. And I got that here at St. Thomas, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. And as Dr. Dunham had said too, like coming from a smaller town in central Minnesota, I wanted all that the Twin Cities had to offer, and like Opus with the connections to businesses, but I also didn't want to be like in a super metropolitan area. And so St. Thomas is in a great neighborhood. I love living here, and our campus is beautiful too. So that's just an added bonus.
Carly, do we have any questions?
Hi, yes, we have a lot of questions coming in. Thanks everyone for your patience as I try to answer here while I'm clicking. There are a lot of questions, Georgia, about just, can you double major? When do you start taking your business classes? Maybe can you talk about that process and business electives?
Okay, students can double major. You can do 2 areas of business. You can major in business and something outside of business. You can do minors, as we've talked about. You start taking courses right away. Your first year, your first semester, you'll be taking business courses, and you'll continue on into your second year. And then you'll be working with your faculty, because there are electives. You have electives, required electives within the business program. But you and your faculty are going to decide what courses you're going to be taking to really tailor your degree to yourself. Faculty, want to jump in here?
Yeah, I would say I'm always surprised at the number of double majors that I see through my advisees and in my class. And I think it has to do with the fact that we've got such a strong core group of business classes that as they come through, they start to see, okay, maybe I'd like to go this way or that way. And it gives them the flexibility. We've just overhauled the curriculum to give students even more flexibility for double majors and minors. So we initiate them early. They get to get broad exposure of what they'd like to see. And it's not unusual for them to see one or two different elements that they like. So it is surprising how many times we get double majors, and it doesn't take much more in terms of the standard course load to be able to accomplish that.
Did we answer that, Carly? Was there another part to that
Yes,
question?
thank you. There were some questions about minors as well. So I guess we could quickly clarify on whether students can participate in minors outside of business.
Some of the more popular majors, minors, are foreign language, economics. We have a museum management minor that's fairly new, but that's popular. Some of the sciences, computers. Faculty, Laura, Natisha, where are your majors, minors?
Yeah, so one of the things that I love is we can tailor it to where you think you want to go. And so we'll have students that are very interested in the PR or advertising and so they'll minor in a communications or journalism. We might have another student that, let's say, they're interested in the business analytics side of marketing, and so they might try to figure that out as a minor. The perk is that it just depends on what you're looking for your career path, and we can find a minor that will help you be more prepared to walk into that career path if you're really interested.
And I was going to say, and students really, they really do make it work. I mean, I have students who are entrepreneurship and actuarial science double majors. And in fact, what's interesting for that person is she's a sophomore and she got one of the best internships at United Health Group because they said, wow, an actuarial scientist with entrepreneurship, that's pretty cool. We need that business and entrepreneurial thinking. So that was a great combination. Somebody had a question I saw on music business. We get a lot of music business students. It's not part of the Opus College, but actually the entrepreneurship department particularly, we work a lot with the professor over there, Steve Cole, and do a lot of joint sort of courses and programming together because clearly people in music business tend to be very entrepreneurial. So we, our students major in Catholic studies, anything, you know, they can make it work. And as advisors, we always help them sort of navigate that.
There are also some questions about the business living and learning community, since that is one of the options for the requirement for next year. Georgia, could you talk about that LLC?
It's not a requirement, but we do have 4 LLC courses, and that's where students are all enrolled in a class and they live in the dorm. They're in one wing of the dorm for each class. We also have for the first year theme-based courses. So students who maybe aren't in a living learning community will take 2 different courses that are built around the same theme. And they'll, you know, build a community in that way.
Great, thank you. There's also some questions about how recruiting is happening while campus is closed. I don't know if the faculty want to talk about that, or if you want to talk about that, Georgia.
Well, maybe the admissions people should be working on that. I do know that.
I'm sorry, I meant business recruiting, hiring.
Oh, business hiring. I'm sorry.
Not just admissions. Yeah.
Oh, it's very robust. We're working with Career Development, and Career Development has regular online Zoom meetings that students can sign up for that are job search groups. They're also connecting students online with companies that have internships and that are looking at hiring. We're also are connecting students with our alumni via Zoom. We have meetings going on all day via Zoom for our students and employers. Employers are looking too. Employers want to hire. They know that things are going to open back up again, and employers want to have good candidates that they can hire. So we're doing a lot of work electronically.
There was also a question about the role that alumni play in the Opus College of Business. Can you talk about how alumni engage with the different departments?
Nikisha, the alumni for your department?
Absolutely. So we've done a couple different things with some of our alumni. One of the things that you briefly heard me mention was that prof plus prof model. And so we've had some of our alumni come in and work alongside a professor, offer their expertise along with some of their connections so that students could have on-site visits during class. Some of the other things that I've seen is one of my former students actually came back and became an adjunct professor, and she works alongside me with a few of our courses that we've done there. The opportunity for alumni in that sense is always available, but one of the things that you did hear, I believe, from one of the students is that our alumni network for students looking to work with them and possibly get job opportunities, sit down and meet for coffee, have discussions about their career path and what to do next is something that I'm finding is really robust and alive for St. Thomas. I definitely have heard the, always a Tommy type of environment, even when it comes to engaging with the students, both in front of the classroom, in our clubs as well, and also mentoring students.
And just from a slightly different perspective, one of the things we do, and our alumni are so dedicated to St. Thomas and so active. They work a lot as mentors, both through we have a formal mentoring system that's run through our alumni services, but also they just come into the class, they just mentor. We have a lot of business competitions, and I know across the Opus School, but within the Schultz School, we do business concept challenges and business plan competitions and a social entrepreneurial challenge. And all across the year, there are these opportunities for people with ideas to get together with mentors. And our alumni are just amazing. They come in, you can start your freshman year actually with something called the Freshman Innovation Immersion, which is a day-and-a-half event where you meet other students, you do all this collaborative stuff, and we have all these alumni from these fabulous businesses and venture capitalists and also startup entrepreneurs who come in and work with the students. So there's just so many touch points. It's not just about looking for a job. It's not just about having one mentor. There's so many different ways that you can meet people who are in the field you're interested in the industry you're interested in, and get to know them and benefit from their experience and expertise. So we're really blessed. That is a fantastic resource that St. Thomas has, a truly dedicated.
And we have a lot of alumni involvement in our student organizations too, our clubs. They're very active in supporting our clubs.
Another question that we have for the students is, looking back, what do you know now that you would have wanted to know coming in as a first-year student to Opus?
I guess I can speak to that really quick. So coming in, I guess there probably a lot of people feel somewhat of a pressure to know kind of exactly what you want to do or what you want to get into after you graduate. And if I could go back and talk to myself, 4 years ago, I would definitely say, it's okay to not know, or not know right away, or, experience a lot of different things. One of the great things about, the Opus College of Business is you are exposed to so many different, disciplines and classes and just majors that you can take your time. And, there are opportunities to change, like, what we've talked about. We've changed majors multiple times, some of us, and, changed minors to majors or drop something. And, that's okay to do that. And there is no real pressure to kind of, know exactly what you want to do coming in as a freshman. And, you should take your time to figure it out and figure out what you really are passionate about. Because, I definitely felt that pressure coming in. And, I guess looking back on it, I kind of would have wished I would have taken a little bit more time to, consider what I really wanted to do and what I was really actually passionate about.
I would add to that, to not be afraid to use your resources. There's so many resources at St. Thomas, and as a freshman, it can be really intimidating to either want to reach out and ask for help or want to use any of the services. So that's maybe talking to your professor or your advisor If you're fearful of joining a club, like I would say just do it. If I could tell myself one thing as a freshman would be just like, don't be scared to be involved, and reach out for help. If you want help on your resume, like there's Career Development Center to help you with that. And I think the sooner you start realizing that it's okay to like get out of your bubble or like get out of your shell, you'll start really reaping those benefits and rewards, and it'll just make you a better individual and have a really successful college career.
Yeah, I would just echo what Paige said and use my resources. I used to be really scared to talk to my professors, and at the events where speakers would come in, sorry if there's like weird lighting on my face, but when professors would come in, or not professors, when people would come in, speakers from companies, I'd be so scared to come up to and talk to them at the end of the event. And it took me a while to realize that they wouldn't be there unless they were interested in talking to students and understanding them as a person. So I would just say, don't be scared to reach out to people. I message people on LinkedIn all the time. I message people on Tommy Connect all the time. And I just try to make those connections because people are willing to help you if you show that you're willing to learn.
Unfortunately, we have come to the end of our time, but for those of you who haven't had your questions answered yet, we are going to follow up with you in the coming days. So we will get you an answer. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the panelists. Thank you for joining me. And thank you, students, for joining us here. We're looking forward to having you on campus.
Go Tommies.
Everyone looks good in purple. Remember that.